The lighthouse lamp spun in its monotonous hypnotic dance. The man who kept the lighthouse last was found dead by the lamp. Apparently, he'd burned alive from standing in front of it for too long. Why had he stopped the lamp's rotation? What made him stand in its burning gaze for so long? Even more baffling was the fact that the lighthouse was still lit up and running. No one had been sent out here to start it up again. No shipments of lamp oil or any other supplies have been sent here since the keeper died. So how is it still doing its job? This was an old lighthouse, the kind that still uses an old oil lamp instead of an electric one. It should at least have burned out long ago. But the light shined bright, and the beam showed no signs of slowing its pace as it turned. I came there to investigate the events leading up to the keeper's death. Maybe there were some clues as to why he stared into the lamp for so damn long. Maybe it'll reveal why the place is still going. Many people say the place is haunted by the keeper's ghost, and that was the reason the light kept going. I was never one to jump to supernatural conclusions, but just in case, I clutched the cross that hung from my neck under my coat. A silent prayer to soothe my nerves. Naturally, the first place I went was the living area. The rooms were a mess. The air inside was damp, the cold clinging to my skin like wet cloth. Old food cans were strewn about. There were unsightly stains from their contents splattered on the floor. And there was more than enough evidence that rats had gotten into the supplies since the untimely departure. In the living quarters, the rot of old food clung to the air, mixed with the stale musk of a place long abandoned to time. The air inside was thick with the scent of salt and mildew, the damp walls sweating with the moisture of the sea. There were no signs of any struggle there. The door was intact, although stained and rotting. The furniture was still standing, and all the cabinets were closed. All the cutlery was in a proper place. There were a few childish doodles stuck to the fridge with magnets, probably from the kids and widow he left behind. The wind outside moaned through the cracks in the tower, a hollow voice whispering against the moist timber. Then I found my way to his bedroom, and it was a jarringly stark contrast to the rest of the building. Holy crosses hung from every available space on every wall. A few were professionally made, but the rest were all made from old twigs tied together with string and sinew. The crosses on the walls weren't just placed, they were nailed in, some with rusting iron, others lashed together in frantic desperation. The ceiling was decorated, if I can call it that, with dirty sheets of paper with a single image scribbled across all of them. An image of many layered circles inside one another, some having what looked like blades extending from their edge in alternating sweeping angles. Some ritualistic circle? That didn't make sense, not with all the crosses all over the room. On the floor, directly under the center of the image, lay an old book with no title. I picked it up and found it was the keeper's journal. Bingo. The last page that had anything on it had been bookmarked. It had more rough sketches like the picture overhead. The page before it had images of a bunch of eyes staring in random directions. I flipped back a few more pages to find the start of his work here at the lighthouse.
Day 1. I'd been assigned to this old lighthouse to keep the light burning. I've taken a look at the lamp, and it's one of them old shitty oil ones. Damn old tower might as well be a giant open torch. I've made a call about getting an electrical thing up here, but the response said that would be inefficient, since this place is so remote, it'd need its own generator strong enough to run it. Fine. I'll just deal with the stink of oil and the noise of a gas motor every night. Can't possibly lose sleep over that.
Clearly he didn't take kindly to the arrangements here, but that's not reason enough to kill himself. I skipped a few entries.
Day 5. There's something odd about the way the light moves. I've never paid much attention to it before, but now it feels off. Sometimes, when I pass the staircase at night, I catch a glimpse of something in the corner of my eye, just for a second, just outside the beam of light. But when I turn to look, there's nothing there. Just shadows. Just my imagination. Day 8. Something odd is going on. It's been a week since I loaded the light last, but it's still burning bright. Maybe it's just good oil. Regardless, I'm still waiting for the next shipment to arrive so I can keep this thing going. No telling how much longer the light will keep up.
A few shorter entries. but oddly enlightening ones. The light was already showing signs of abnormality.
Day 12. I'm still waiting on the shipment of oil. Mainland called me back saying that they were having trouble getting in contact with their supplier. Damn it all, how am I supposed to keep a lighthouse lit without the oil for the crappy old lamp? That being said, the light should have gone out by now. No lantern oil on Earth burns this bright this long. Day 13. I was up at the lamp to investigate the oil. Surely it couldn't have burned so slow and so bright for nearly 2 weeks. In fact, it wasn't. When I checked the supply in the lamp, it had already completely burned away over a week ago. So what was making the light? Suffice to say, I got my answer.
The entry on the very next page was several weeks ahead of the one before.
Day 32. I saw them again, spinning, turning, unblinking, watching me, watching everything. But now they are cracked, their edges dull and uneven. Something has wounded them. It needs to heal. I must keep it safe. If it dies in my care, my soul may face damnation. I never would have thought such a thing even could die, but here it was, weak and bleeding. How did I not see its blood until now? Maybe because it was clear. Regardless, I can't let anything reach it. I have to protect this place. Need more. More Banes. I've run out of actual ones. Hopefully I can make some that work good enough.
What are these ramblings? Is he describing some kind of creature? What does it have to do with the lighthouse and his description of its blood? I kept reading as I ventured up the lighthouse stairs. Whatever he saw might still be up there.
Day 39. The light is weak. I must keep it safe. It chose me. No one else can. No one else understands. But I do. I hear it. I feel it. I am its shield, its watcher, its keeper. I am the wall against the dark. I have made more. The nails bite into the wood. It's not enough. Gaps. I feel them. I must make more. I am the flame against the cold. I am.
The entry cut off mid-sentence. Whatever the lighthouse keeper saw, it had him stressed beyond comprehension.
Day 44. So many eyes, so much light. It came here specifically to heal. Why here, of all places? So it could shine and help. That must be why. Such a thing can't exist for malice, right? No, of course not. But who would hurt such a thing? Who could hurt it? Why would someone do that?
More questions filled my mind as I ascended. The entries were getting shorter and more cryptic. The keeper seemed to know what was in the lighthouse, but he never said what it was.
Day 61. It spoke to me. I heard its voice in my head. It's calling my name. It's not healed, but it wants to thank me. Another will come. Another will find it, and it will enlist them. Until then, it wants to reward me. All I have to do is see it. I have to see past its light and look in its eyes. Tomorrow, I will step into the light.
The entry ended there, leaving me back on the page with the pictures of eyes, all staring jarringly forward. I arrived at the top step. The lamp atop the lighthouse spun silently, its light as bright as the sun. When the light spun past, the air itself seemed to hum. A low vibration that crawled through my bones. The lamp made no sound, no flicker, no hiss of burning fuel. Just an unnatural silence that pressed against my ears. The air was thick, pressing against my skin like a weighted blanket, neither hot nor cold but something in between, something unnatural. Despite the brightness of the lamp, goosebumps crawled along my arms, my body reacting to something it couldn't understand. The hatch for the tank of lamp oil hung open, giving me a clear view of the empty void in the metal cylinder. There was no fuel, no oil. Yet the acrid scent of something smoldering curled in my nostrils, dry and biting. The light passed overhead as the lamp continued to spin.
Come.
A voice echoed in my mind. For some reason, I felt no fear. The lamp slowed its rotation until it finally stopped. I stepped up to the platform and walked in front of the light. The glow didn't flicker, didn't waver, it was steady, unwavering, too perfect to be natural. My eyes took a moment to adjust to the blinding radiance, but I soon started seeing shapes. Blurred silhouettes of blades faded to feathers on countless wings. Circles slid around each other, rings, and the eyes. So many eyes, all looking directly at me. This was the image of only one thing that I could think of. One thing that I never before thought could exist in the mortal realm of man. One thing that no one thought they'd ever get to see. As I stood before it, the world behind me faded, swallowed by the golden radiance. With a smile, I clutched the cross that hung from my neck and listened to its words.
Be not afraid.